Sometimes, betrayal doesn't come with a loud reinvention. Each new wife is a new performance, a new role. He becomes who they need him to be. And with each lie, he was perfecting his act. Camille met the other wives in person, an emotional summit of survivors. They cried. They compared notes. They discovered. He told each woman his parents were dead. They were not. He gave each wife a different birthday for himself. He told Danielle he had a son who died at birth. Camille's living son, Darius, was that child. Imagine your child's existence used as a ghost story to manipulate another woman. The audacity, the cruelty. The group decided to press charges. Bigamy is a felony in many states. Camille also filed for divorce. Detective McCall coordinated with authorities across 4 states. An arrest warrant was issued, but Marcus had vanished. His phones were disconnected. His car found abandoned in Knoxville, Tennessee. A note left inside. "I never meant to hurt y'all. I only wanted to be loved." The investigation uncovered more. Marcus had applied for life insurance policies under each wife's name, listing himself as beneficiary. He borrowed money from Shayla using Camille's credit history. Surveillance footage placed him at a bank in Memphis just days before he disappeared. This was not a man running from heartbreak. He was orchestrating an exit. Dr. Graham called it exit fraud, a method where con artists fabricate emotional breakdowns as a smokescreen for theft. The FBI opened a file. Marcus Harris was now a federal fugitive. Camille sold the house, moved in with her sister, started therapy. Darius, now 16, started asking harder questions. Did he ever love us? She didn't have an answer. Some wounds don't bleed. They echo. But Camille began documenting everything. Journals, photos, conversations. Her therapist encouraged her to reclaim the narrative. So she started a podcast, Wives in the Dark. It went viral. Survivors began writing in. A woman in Florida claimed to have dated Marcus in 2017. Another from Mississippi believed she was wife number 5. The house of cards wasn't just collapsing. It was still growing in the shadows. The story of Marcus Delroy Harris isn't over. There are whispers in the bayous, sightings in Houston, tears left on wedding veils never worn. And just when Camille thought she had seen the worst, a knock came at her door. A young woman stood there, trembling. She looked barely 22. She held a baby in her arms. Is this where Marcus lives? He's my husband. How many lives did Marcus touch? And what happens when love becomes a weapon? Camille Harris had just uncovered a secret so elaborate, so deeply buried beneath years of lies, charm, and forged smiles, that even her worst suspicions hadn't prepared her. Her husband, Marcus Delroy, hadn't just betrayed her. He had rewritten the very laws of loyalty, commitment, and identity. Married, not once, not twice, but 4 times, simultaneously. And Camille? She was just one of the women he called wife. But the deeper question wasn't how. It was why. Soft moonlight filters through sheer curtains. Camille sits on her couch, phone in hand, staring at photographs she pulled from social media, her fingers trembling. A collage of faces, Marcus with different women, smiling in different homes, in different cities. Each time, the same posture, the same hollow grin. Love for Camille had always been sacred, a covenant. But for Marcus, love was leverage. It was power. It was cover. We drift into Marcus's past. A boy standing at a bus stop alone at night. A young man charming elderly women in nursing homes. A 20-something in a suit slipping into a courthouse with a fake ID. Born in New Orleans, raised in silence and shadows, Marcus Delroy learned early that masks got you fed and lies got you ahead. He was charming in the way a rattlesnake is beautiful, lethal, elegant, and cold-blooded. But Camille wasn't the only one unraveling this nightmare. Cassandra Boyd, a 37-year-old bakery owner, stares at a photo Camille sent her via email. She zooms in on Marcus's face. He's older in the photo, but unmistakable. Cassandra, whispering, "That's him. That's my husband." Cassandra married Marcus in 2015. He went by Malcolm Darnell then, a successful business consultant who was always flying to Chicago for meetings. She had no idea that Chicago wasn't work. It was his other wife, Sheila Hampton, a 45-year-old nurse practitioner with a stern face and tired eyes, tells her story to Detective Lena McCall over a lukewarm cup of coffee. He told me he was an orphan, said he never had a family. That's why I never questioned why he didn't have anyone at the wedding. Detective Lena McCall queried, Did he ever mention a Camille? Or a Cassandra? Sheila responded, no, but now it makes sense why he always refused holidays. Each woman believed she was his only. Each woman had let him into their homes, their lives, their bank accounts. Because what Marcus wanted wasn't just love. He wanted control. existed at all. Detective McCall chipped in. He's good at hiding. But people like Marcus always leave something behind. Pattern. A mistake. Sheila nods slowly, eyes distant. A local news anchor reports on Marcus Delroy Harris's disappearance, highlighting the multiple identities and bigamous marriages. Social media buzzes with theories, sympathy, and anger. The story spread fast. A man with many faces, 1,000 promises, and 7 shattered lives. The public's fascination fed the growing mystery, but for the women left behind, it was far from a spectacle. It was a wound. In an interview with psychologist Dr. Avery Fields, Dr. Fields said, "Malcolm's behavior fits the classic profile of a pathological manipulator, someone who uses charm and deception to exploit emotional vulnerabilities. His marriages, they weren't about love. They were a strategy for control, for power. To understand Malcolm, we must first understand the hunger beneath the mask, the craving for dominance cloaked in intimacy." At Camille and Cassandra's first meeting, Camille and Cassandra sit across from each other in a quiet cafe, tentative but drawn together by shared betrayal. Camille gently, "When I found out, I felt like I'd been erased, like I never really existed to him." Cassandra, "I was angry, so angry, but also scared, because if he could lie to me like that, what else was he capable of?" Their eyes meet, a fragile understanding forming. Cut to Detective McCall examining financial records. The detective flips through documents revealing money transfers between Marcus's accounts and unexplained cash withdrawals. He was siphoning money from all of them, draining savings, investments. I'm betting this wasn't just about love or control. This was a con. Behind the emotional wreckage lay a financial ruin, a calculated scheme that left the women not only heartbroken but devastated. Sheila received a mysterious letter. She opens an envelope with no return address. Inside, a handwritten note. "Find Joylene." Sheila whispering, "Who is Joylene?" Another name, another woman. Another piece of the puzzle slipping just out of reach. Camille scrolling through marriage records. Cassandra talking on the phone with the private investigator. Sheila checking social media for any trace of Joylene. The hunt was no longer just about Malcolm. It was about reclaiming stolen identities, fractured lives, and the truth buried beneath years of lies. Cut to dark room night. A shadowy figure picks up a burner phone. Voice filtered, tense. He's gone underground, but he's not hiding forever. The game was far from over, and the shadows were only deepening. Camille alone in her living room. She sits in the dark, phone in hand, waiting. The screen lights up with a single new message. "Meet me, midnight, the old pier." In a story woven with lies, sometimes the truth arrives in the darkest hour. But will Camille be ready to face it? In the aftermath of betrayal, when the dust settles and the silence becomes unbearable, we are forced to confront the truth, no matter how dark, how uncomfortable, or how shattering it might be. For Camille Harris, Cassandra Boyd, Sheila Hampton, Alana Brewer, Danielle Rowe, Shayla Knox, and the unnamed Joylene, the truth was more than a revelation. It was a reckoning, because sometimes the greatest deception is not the lie itself, but the willful blindness that lets it live. The moon casts silver streaks across the water. Camille's breath is visible in the cold night air as she waits, heart pounding. From the shadows, a figure emerges, Detective McCall. Camille tense, whispering, "You said you had answers." Detective McCall nodding. "I do, but you need to be ready. What we're about to uncover, it changes everything." Marcus Delroy Harris's disappearance was no accident. It was a calculated escape from the life he built, a house of cards stacked on deception, greed, and broken promises. We discovered that Marcus was not only a bigamist, but a fugitive from justice, wanted for fraud and embezzlement across multiple states. He vanished to avoid arrest, leaving behind a trail of devastated women and shattered families. McCall spreads out papers on a wooden crate, forged marriage certificates, financial fraud reports, phone records. He used each marriage to secure loans, credit cards, and investments. He drained accounts and vanished before anyone could stop him. Camille, voice shaking. "All this time, I thought it was about love. Detective McCall chipped in. It wasn't. It was a con, and it almost destroyed you. Cassandra and Sheila meeting with Joylene at a community center. The three women gather for the first time, sharing their stories, their pain, their hope. Joylene softly. He told me I was the only one, like all of you. But I wasn't. Cassandra with tears. None of us were. Sheila determined. But together, we're stronger. In the face of betrayal, these women found something unexpected: solidarity. The courage to face the darkness, to reclaim their voices, and to rebuild from the ruins. Their stories are not just about Marcus Delroy Harris's lies. They are about survival, resilience, and the unbreakable strength of the human spirit. Camille, steady, heartfelt. I want every woman out there to hear this. Trust your instincts. Don't let fear or shame keep you silent. If something feels wrong, it probably is. And you deserve to know the truth. Detective McCall, an interview setting. Marcus Delroy Harris's case is a cautionary tale about the dangers of deception, the cost of denial, and the power of justice. But justice is not just about catching the criminal. It's about healing the victims. So what is the lesson here? It is this: never let your heart blind you to the truth. Trust your senses, your instincts, and above all, your worth. Because no one has the right to live multiple lives at the expense of your soul. Camille volunteering at a women's shelter. Cassandra opening a new bakery, vibrant and full of life. Sheila studying law, determined to fight for others. Joylene speaking at a support group, her voice steady and strong. Alana now teaches a weekly financial literacy workshop for single mothers. Danielle built a brand from her pain, turning old flames into light. Shayla hosts a rising podcast called Girl Elide. Her voice is animated, and a photo of the Wives in the Dark podcast is pinned behind her as inspiration. From broken hearts rise new beginnings. From shattered trust, the power to rebuild, not just survive, but thrive. She looks out over the city, a faint smile touching her lips. The story of Marcus Delroy Harris is over, but the stories of those he hurt, and those who refuse to be broken, continue. Because in every shadow, there's light, and in every ending, a new beginning waits. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this story moved you, or made you think, please comment below to share your thoughts. Like this video to help others find these stories. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. And subscribe to Twisted Guilts for more true crime tales that reveal the shadows behind the truth. Together, we find light.